Hey guys, alright, I don't know if you can tell, but I have proper lighting now. I bought a ring light thing, and right now it's set up very jankily behind my webcam here. But this should give a little bit better quality, I hope, to just the channel in general. So with that, and today we are back with another epic history TV video. This time, Wellington strikes Salamanca, 1812. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Oh, the fucking music.
By 1812, Napoleon's French Empire had 250,000 troops stationed in Spain.
Jesus.
Bogged down in a war that seemed to have no end. They faced a bitter struggle against the people of Spain, who'd taken up arms in a guerrilla war, as well as the remnants of Spain's field armies and an Anglo-Portuguese army under Lord Wellington. But French forces in Spain remained formidable and in firm control of the capital, Madrid, and most major cities. And the year began with another great French victory in the south, and a calamity for Spain.
Calamity. If I had two generals like Suchet to lead my troops in Spain, this war would already be over. Napoleon.
Spain and Portugal would become a graveyard, not just for young French conscripts, but for the reputation of some of France's most famous generals. General Junot, Marshal Soult,
Oh, yep, we learned about Salt last
and
time.
Marshal Jourdan had all tasted defeat. Marshal Massena
Oh,
had
and
been
Massena.
recalled in disgrace. Marshal Louis-Gabriel Suchet was the exception. French generals in Spain were notorious for their looting. Soult, based in Andalusia, was probably the worst, reckoned to have stolen 1.5 million francs worth of art from Spanish monasteries and churches.
Jeez, man.
As governor of Aragon, Marshal Suchet behaved very differently. He enforced strict discipline on his troops, punishing any who tried to steal or extort money from the Spanish, while treating local authorities with respect. He combined this hearts and minds strategy with ruthless military action against the guerrillas that was able to establish firm control of Aragon. In June 1811, after a particularly bloody assault, Suchet...
Was that the proper Spanish pronunciation for Aragon? Because I don't know, I'm English. It just... I don't know. It sounded right, but also to my allergies, dude. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. To my English brain, it sounded a bit off. I don't know. But, like, I think in terms of Spanish, it was right. I don't speak the language, so let me know.
Suchet took the port of Tarragona, for which Napoleon rewarded him with his marshal's baton. The emperor then sent him reinforcements and ordered him to take Valencia. First, he routed a much larger Spanish army that attacked him at Saguntum, before he laid siege to Valencia. The city was packed with Spanish troops and refugees, and to avoid starvation, General Blake surrendered Valencia on the 8th of January, 1812.
Is that a Spaniard or an Englishman? The last name tells me... Blake tells me Englishman, but that first name tells me Spaniard.
1,000 prisoners, including 23 generals, and nearly 500 guns. It was a devastating blow to the Spanish cause. But to reinforce Suchet, Napoleon had stripped troops from other armies in Spain, and then withdrawn 25,000 of the best troops for his imminent invasion of Russia.
Oh no.
The result was that French forces in Spain were now severely overstretched, just as Wellington prepared to strike.
Dun dun dun. We have in the service the scum of the earth as common soldiers enlisted for drink. Wellington. Wow. You have great faith in your soldiers,
Spanish
Wellington.
guerrillas kept Wellington well informed of French movements. And learning that the forces facing him in western Spain had been much weakened, he decided to go on the offensive, to strike a blow before the French could concentrate against him. On the day that Valencia fell, he laid siege to Ciudad Rodrigo on the Portuguese-Spanish frontier. Eager to take the city before Marshal Marmont could march to its relief, he ordered an assault after just 10 days. It succeeded, though Major General Crawford of the Light Division was among 300 killed.
Doesn't sound like too bad of casualties.
Wellington then marched south to besiege.
Doesn't sound like too bad of casualties in regards to taking a fortified position.
The much more
Words are hard
strongly
today.
defended city of Badajoz.
Ooh, this is
An
a
assault
nice
was made
drawing
on the
here.
night of the 6th of April. The first wave attacking the main breach were slaughtered. But what was supposed to be a diversionary attack on the city's castle with scaling ladders succeeded, and the city soon fell.
Those are some tough ass soldiers. They're sent in as a diversion and they succeed. Absolute mad lads.
The storming of Badajoz cost the British 3,700 casualties.
Ooh, that's a lot.
In the aftermath, survivors went on the rampage, drinking, looting and raping, and killing more than 100 Spanish civilians.
Ooh, that's not good.
Before British officers finally restored order. Wellington had secured the two main routes between Spain and Portugal. Now he sent his most reliable subordinate, General Hill, with a small Anglo-Portuguese force to destroy the bridge over the Tagus at Almaraz. This was a vital link between Marmont's army of Portugal and Soult's army of the south, as the next usable bridge was at Toledo, 90 miles east. The bridge was well guarded by forts and redoubts, but Hill led a swift and daring assault. The French defences were taken by surprise. The bridge itself and all the engineering equipment burned, at the cost of just 177 casualties.
Total or on British side?
Wellington was now ready to begin his advance into Spain. Spanish regular forces and guerrilla bands began operations to tie down as many French troops as possible. While from the Bay of Biscay, Sir Hugh Popham's...
This is really looking like a modern war, in my opinion. Like, where there aren't clear front lines, and it just lots of movement here. Civilian populations heavily involved in this war, like this, and it's kind of become a war of attrition, which kind of are what modern wars have become. So, yeah.
Naval raiding force made diversionary attacks on French coastal targets. In 4 days, Wellington was at Salamanca, as Marmont, outnumbered, withdrew behind the Douro River. But when reinforcements arrived, he crossed the river again. For 6 days, Marmont tried to march around Wellington's flank, but the British general matched him move for move, their two armies marching in parallel, often within sight of each other. But on the 7th day,
That's gotta be weird.
Marmont blundered.
Oh no. Mon cher Alava, Marmont est perdu. God, my French has gotten bad. My dear Alava, Marmont is lost. Is this Napoleon saying it? Nope, Wellington to General Alava, his Spanish liaison officer.
On the morning of the
Here we go, we
22nd
got
of
a battle.
July, Wellington's army occupied high ground 4 miles south of Salamanca.
Salamanca.
Marmont
Okay.
was not interested in a direct assault. He still sought to outflank Wellington, threaten his line of retreat to Portugal, and force him to fall back. Around 8 a.m., the French won a dash for a hill known as the Greater Arapil, which Marmont made his observation point. the French army began to swing round behind him. Marmont had convinced himself that Wellington was an overly cautious general who would not risk attack. The hills hid most of Wellington's army from view, and when Marmont saw dust clouds to the west, he assumed it was Wellington's baggage train leaving Salamanca, beginning their retreat. But it was the British 3rd Division and a Portuguese cavalry brigade moving up to strengthen Wellington's flank. Because he wasn't planning a retreat. He was about to attack.
Dun dun dun! There they are, my lads. Just let them feel the temper of your bayonets. Major General Edward Pakenham, commanding British 3rd Division.
Around 2 p.m, Marmont ordered the 5 infantry divisions waiting in the woods behind him to march west, to cut off Wellington's imagined retreat. General Mokoon's 5th Division, in the lead, stopped to engage what was presumed to be the British rearguard in the village of Los Arapiles.
Los Arapiles.
General Thomier's 7th Division continued west past it. Wellington watched as the French left flank became increasingly strung out, and knew it was an opportunity too good to miss. He galloped 3 miles across country to the 3rd Division to give the crucial orders in person. Many of his staff officers struggled.
I love the sound effects they've got going.
On arrival, he instructed the division's commander, his own brother-in-law, Edward Pakenham, to attack and drive everything before him. Third Division's advance was hidden by low hills until the last minute. Thomier's division was caught completely unawares and shattered by the assault. Thomier's himself was killed. Half his division killed or captured.
Ooh,
The rest soon put to flight. At this crucial moment, Marshal Marmont was hit by a British shell and carried from the field seriously wounded.
Ooh.
His second-in-command, General Bonnet, was himself wounded an hour later. So command passed to General Clausel. 45 minutes later, the British 5th Division attacked, supported by 2 Portuguese brigades and...
That's a lot of just sheer unluckiness striking the French troops here in Salamanca.
General Lamarchand's dragoons. The French saw the cavalry coming and formed square, but were hit first by the British infantry, who unleashed a close-range volley, then charged with the bayonet. The French were routed and charged down by Lamarchand's cavalry. French 6th Division was caught up in the collapse. Lamarchand himself was shot from the saddle, but his brigade had helped destroy 8 French battalions and capture 2 Eagles. Wellington's echelon attack continued as Cole's 4th Division advanced in the centre. But Pack's Portuguese brigade was thrown back from the Greater Arapil, and the whole division was soon falling back in disorder. Despite the devastation of his army's left flank, General Clausel decided to launch an attack on the Lesser Arapil, the hinge of Wellington's position. If it could be taken, he might still snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But the French advance was met by fresh troops of Clinton's 6th Division, who poured volleys of musket fire into the French columns. They began to fall back. The French army had lost the will to fight on, its soldiers streaming away into the woods behind them. General Ferret's 3rd Division mounted a brave rearguard action to buy the rest of the army time to escape, but it faced a hopeless task. It was soon outflanked by the British 5th Division, and Ferret himself was killed. Only General Foy's 1st Division escaped in good order. With darkness falling and his army exhausted, Wellington called off the pursuit.
All this happened just in one day? deputation of the court came to congratulate. A deputation of the courts came to congratulate me upon your victory, hailing you as the savior of Spain, Henry Wellesley, the British ambassador to Spain, to his brother, Lord Wellington.
Wellington had smashed Marmont's army, taking 7,000 prisoners and killing or wounding 6,000 more.
Damn.
A French casualty rate of 25%, and more than double Wellington's own losses.
Oh, dang.
The next day, dragoons of the King's German Legion attacked the French rearguard and achieved the almost unheard of feat of charging down a French infantry square and taking another 1,000 prisoners. Wellington now decided to march on Madrid, forcing King Joseph to abandon the capital and retreat to Valencia to join up with Marshal Suchet. On the 12th of August, Wellington liberated the city to scenes of wild celebration. Soult, now at risk of being cut off in Andalusia, abandoned the siege of Cadiz, which had dragged on for 2.5 years, and marched east to join Joseph and Suchet. The following month, Wellington marched north, pushing the French back from Valladolid and besieging the castle of Burgos. But his army lacked heavy guns, and the French garrison fought bravely. As powerful French armies gathered to the north and south, Wellington himself was now in danger of being trapped.
Yeah, so the French still have the numerical superiority, and seems quite possibly like they also still have the tactical superiority in terms of skill level of their generals. Wellington seems to quite possibly be the only truly formidable Anglo-allied general in Iberia, whereas Clausel is capable, maybe certainly probably not as good as Marmont is or was, but you still have Soult and Suchet in the south with 60,000 troops. Clausel still has 50,000, so I think the advantage is, despite the loss of land here, I think the French still hold the superiority.
He had no choice but to withdraw. Wellington's retreat turned into a desperate forced march through autumn rain. The supply system collapsed, and many starving soldiers looted what food they could find from Spanish villages. Madrid was abandoned and reoccupied by the French on the 1st of November. Wellington was back where he'd started 5 months before. But despite the campaign's dismal conclusion, his strike into Spain had led to the liberation of huge swathes of the country and left the French more overstretched than ever. Reinforced and resupplied, Wellington would be back the next year to deliver the final blow to Joseph's Spanish kingdom. 1812 had seen the tide of war turn, and not just in Spain, because 2,000 miles to the east, in Russia, catastrophe had engulfed La Grande Armée.
The Grande Armée. I like how he said it.
Thank you to all our Patreon supporters.
All right. That was Wellington's Strike, Salamanca, 1812, by Epic History TV. Great video as always. They never miss. In fact, like, as we're going through this series, it just gets better and better because they're getting, you know, that's just how it goes usually for creators, at least at the skill level of Epic History TV. They just get better and better. I love this. I love this series. I will continue to continue it. But for today, that was Wellington Strike, Salamanca, 1812. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Leave a suggestion down below for what you want to see me react to next, and I will see you guys in the next video.